So this second week was not as hard as the first one. It was more easy to unpack all the lessons and topics, but it was surely more tricky just trying to remain sane. Mostly because this trying to learn new habits and change old one feels more like going insane than that actually, improving. Apparently, it is not unusual to sense and feel these self-doubts kind of grow as we trying to improve. Apparently, these two things go hand to hand. Self-doubts can actually materialize themselves into self-sabotage. And Julia says that an example of self-sabotage is showing your morning pages to someone, which I can't quite understand. I can't quite grasp, the concept, because why would you even think to show something so personal to someone? Would you show your diary to someone? I don't think so. So put them back. We need to be aware of any external and early judgment in this very first week. Mostly because they can really kill the tiny little hope we are trying to save and keep alive. Tutto quello che facciamo in queste prime settimane deve essere più un qualcosa fatto per noi e che per noi dobbiamo tenere. Penso sia un qualcosa che può essere applicato non solo alle morning pages, ma anche a qualsiasi altra attività che facciamo in queste prime settimane, proprio perché qualsiasi giudizio, che sia positivo o negativo in realtà, fatto e ricevuto in queste prime settimane non ci va bene. Trying to keep alive and protect this sense of safety is actually crucial, mostly because art only grows when we feel safe and we can sense a sense of self-acceptance. We can really afford other people's doubts while we are trying to restore our own sense of safety and hope. È come se it's like an addict who is in rehab still goes out with people who are not trying to get better. Won't help anyone at the end of the day. Julia says that, of course, blocked artists are often eaten alive by guilt, and they often, more than they should, fall for other people's plan they have for them while neglecting their own needs and wants. Mostly because we think that give our time to other people's plans and wants make us good people. Blocked artists are so because, as Julia says, they often involve themselves with some crazy makers. These crazy makers are extremely charismatic people, but also extremely destructive to the one around them. Mostly because you end up functioning as an
in the beginning.
Mostly because you end up functioning as an energy system for them. So you end up drained and they came out fully energized. Crazy makers are all those people around you that share and impose some destructive plans and patterns where it's impossible for you basically to have sustained creative work. But not because you can and because you don't have what it takes to, but because mentally and physically it's impossible to create in those settings. Julia has a pretty big section about them on say, because as long as you're involved with them, it's impossible to keep yourself on track. Because all those people, all those crazy makers, like to destroy your plans. They must do whatever they want, but you can sacrifice yourself and your time for them. They are also the one that starts the drama, but they act upset about it. Crazy makers will always violate your needs and cross your boundaries. They also in some cases like to spend your own money, waste your time. If you have to do the hobbit journey, always, every time you have to meet them and they just have to go downstairs, there's something wrong. If they always, more than once, ask you for money, there's something wrong. You need to be careful also, and I will say mostly, of all those people who love and like to set people one against another. So and so told me this about you, and you didn't say anything to defend me? There's something wrong. You just need to be very mindful of all those people who like to talk shit about others with you, because when they are with other people they probably do the same about you. There's something wrong. Questi crazy makers amano incolpare gli altri, anche quando di fatto la colpa è la loro. Se c'è qualcosa che va male, che va storto, anche se è colpa loro, è colpa tua. Queste persone possono essere amici stretti, possono essere un partner, possono essere un marito, una moglie, membri della famiglia. Ovviamente ci sono situazioni sicuramente più intricate e delicate dove c'è bisogno di aiuto esterno per gestirle. If you find yourself in a situation like this, but you are not really doing anything to change it, you really need to start acting on it, really. Another huge enemy of our creativity is our own skepticism, our own inability to actually believe that we can change and we can improve and that maybe we can get better. Qui Giulia parla delle cosiddette coincidenze. Sometimes we want things, we make plans, and out of nowhere we start to find some breadcrumbs along our path leading to our dream destination that we consciously ignore because we think it's nothing. Non so se credete in Dio, se credete nell'universo o qualsiasi altra cosa, but sometimes there's really this upper hand, unseen hand guiding us towards our dream. But we feel so reluctant, to just take seriously that someone just might be cooperating, might be helping us. È semplicemente strano, fa strano l'accettare questo aiuto esterno, perché dice Giulia non siamo davvero a nostro agio nella nostra creatività, da quello che è. Usually when these little of big breadcrumbs, these basically gifts are handed to us, we send them back because we feel like frauds, really. Ho due occasioni in particolare a cui penso che mi vengono in mente ogni volta che leggo questa parte che mi fanno veramente mangiare le mani, ed è stata una realizzazione che non ho avuto con il tempo, è stata una realizzazione che mi ha trovato subito nel momento in cui ho detto no. Quanto avessi perso l'ho capito subito, nel momento in cui ho rifiutato e ho detto no. La cosa mi ha destabilizzato talmente tanto that I almost stopped, just stopped trusting myself as a person and as an artist. And since then I am in this kind of freeze mode where I'm not really doing anything. I'm not really trusting myself with any creative endeavor. E, insomma, è anche la ragione per cui sto facendo questa cosa. We need to be open to all those new doors that open for us along our way and not shut them, right away because we are afraid. I think just need to learn how to slowly walk through them and just stop fantasizing, because you know what, sometimes we really like to lose ourselves into what if, should have, could have, e tutto resta appresso, rather than actually working and trying to improve something that we don't like. And I'm the first one. As black artists, we really like to let pain cuddle us when it could be just some experience to learn and let go. We can hold on pain and grief forever. It's also true that it doesn't really fully go away, but we can surely learn how to move with it. Please don't mourn a life that you could still be living, really. The second week had more exercises than the first one, but I think just 2 or 3 have been extremely eye-opening for me, at least. One was made to bring your attention on how you spend your time, and if you're giving away more time than you should to others in general, without focusing on your own needs and wants. It was a harsh one. The second one involved writing 20 things you usually enjoy doing. Just enjoy to sit in the sun and not doing anything. You can write it and try to recall the last time you did it. I don't know, maybe you really like hiking, or you like to watch the sunset on the beach, but you haven't done it in years. Write it. Credo sia normale avere un momento di iniziale confusione, spaesamento, all'inizio, di vergogna forse alla fine, quando magari si scrive un qualcosa e non si riesce nemmeno a ricordare quando è stata l'ultima volta in cui è stata fatta quella cosa, e è un po' imbarazzante. 2 di queste attività, tra questi eventi che avete scelto, devono essere un obiettivo della settimana. The one that sent me into a spiral was the life pie. You had to draw a scheme like this one and label every piece: spirituality, exercise, play, work, friends, and romance adventure. You then have to place a dot in every slice at whatever degree you feel satisfied in that area. The outer rim indicates that you're doing great there. A dot in the inner one means that you are not doing that great. Then you have to connect all the dots, and just to drive you insane, la mia è una cosa imbarazzante. Un puntino per dire non esiste, non è inserito nemmeno nel cerchio più interno, non c'è, non ho messo niente. Non la faccio vedere solo per preservare quel po' di dignità che mi rimane. Basta. But Julia says it's actually normal to our life pie to look like a tarantula in the first week, so it's okay. We trust her. Of course, you should work on all those areas where you don't feel, that great, you don't feel that fulfilled, in order to improve your overall moods. Like I said, it was easier than the first one, Beh, sono in realtà spaventata per le prossime. Ho paura che ci sia una sorta di picco in negativo. E... Vediamo come va. E questo. Ci vediamo alla prossima.